fell off the bed this morning.
Did she fall off or did Mike push her?
No, so I was like still like sleeping-ish, like kind of half asleep. And Sam put her in her spot. And then Sam was like distracted. She like looked at the sheet quick.
She fell right off the bed. Landed on her head. She landed on her feet.
She like landed on her butt into her back, hit her head on Sam's nightstand and broke it.
Her head or the nightstand? Be more clear.
Nightstand.
Good Lord. 4 people just picked up their phone to start dialing child or.
She's fine. She's fine. Mild concussion.
Like Harrison Smith. She'll be good to play on Sunday.
Yeah. There's so many people on our show rundown right now. It's crazy.
There's 3 people on it. Me, you, and Gabe.
Are you currently on it?
Yeah, I'm always on it. Technically.
I'm in there as you right now. Yeah.
Interesting.
This twin stuff, you guys hit me with some shitty news here for Sunday morning. It's it. I'm just putting the rundown in, and we can go we can start. I guess.
All good. We'll be starting in just a second, folks. So hold tight.
Is there a positive story that we're excited about?
With the Twins?
Anything.
Yeah, sure.
week.
We'll get to some positivity at some point today.
Okay.
I mean, hey, Canelo did beat Triple G, just solidifying his status as one of the greatest boxers of all time.
Yeah. Is he number 1 now all time in your list?
No.
Okay. Because last time he was number 3 or something. But
if he gets
taking any parting shot I can.
If he gets what he wants, which is to fight Usyk,
he'll get absolutely fucking pummeled. Why would he think he can lose to Bivol? And then he can go, no, you know what? I'm going to fight someone better who's bigger. It's so stupid. For me, I believe that's.
Yeah, but guess what?
Ticket.
Guess what? He's also got to give him credit. He's not doing the Mayweather thing. The Mayweather thing is duck anybody who could potentially be better. Pick them off while they're still too young, or get them when they've become too old. Canelo's like, yeah, I'll fight him.
How about the fact that Mayweather? I got to give Mayweather credit, and I don't like doing that either. But how about the fact that he did, like, Canelo was what, 31 when, as he said, he cooked him.
Yeah.
Cooked that dude. I was 40. It now makes him look so good. I think at 40, when you see Triple G at 42 look that old.
Yeah.
I think he's 42. That's how old I am. Jesus. This is depressing. The show is all yours, guys.
Mike, you ready?
Yep.
Gabe, are you ready and less depressed?
I'm going to take some time to recover, but
all right, fair enough.
We're good.
We can go ahead and kick the show off. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Glass Half Sports. Glad to have you with us as always. It is September 22nd, 2022. I am one half of your hosting duties, Nick Huffman, for a show that has all of the greatness of Canelo Alvarez amidst a Triple G fight. So just totally dominant. Joined, as always, by our resident slender man and quarterback guru, Mike Mensing. How you doing, buddy?
I was doing all right before I got called Slender Man and 4 Eyes within a 4-minute window, but
it's been a little rough in the studio this morning.
Hang in there.
Yeah, man. What do we got for the folks this week?
Yeah, as always, guys, it's a big show for you today. So we're going to talk about the fall of the Minnesota Twins.
Long time coming.
Should have wore black as it's a funeral today. Vikings pre and review.
Yep.
Headline news around the NFL. We're going to play a game today called What's More Likely.
Ooh, more games. I like that.
And then we'll go into our NFL Week 3 preview.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. The comment section is open below, so feel free to comment in on any of our takes or give us some of your own. Gabe will throw them up on the screen throughout the show, and we will be able to interact with you. And if you are a sports fan with sports fan friends, feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell for when we post new content on what platforms, Mike?
Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, YouTube, and Patreon.
We do also have a Twitch. We just don't have any content on it. And then if they miss the show on the interweb, where can they find us otherwise, Gabe? Mike, holy smokes.
Well, they can find us on MCN6 on Saturday.
Gabe.
Yep, no problem.
Yeah, Saturdays at 10, right?
Actually, you guys have now crossed over into XXX territory. I think we're now going like 2 a.m. No. We're yes, 10 p.m. We are in the midnight hour.
The midnight hour.
Yeah, 10 to midnight. That's about how long the show's running.
Absolutely. And glad to have you guys with us. Mike, you want to kick the show off?
Sure. So let's start with the fall of the Minnesota Twins. They have an absolute collapse towards the end of the season here. What were we? I think we were 4 games back. And after going 4-6 over the last 10, we are now sitting 9 games back in the AL Central. It's all but done for the Minnesota Twins in 2022.
So before the show, you were like, you should listen to me. God damn it.
Yeah.
When I called the Twins dead 2 weeks ago and you're like, I'm not going to call them dead yet. You should listen to me. God damn it.
No.
We saw this coming.
I mean, if they played anywhere near good baseball over the past 2 weeks, they would have had a shot, but
they haven't played anywhere near good baseball against good baseball teams all year. Buxton's season is over as well, which
didn't hit triple digits.
Didn't even hit triple digits in games. 92. So guess what, Nash? Me and you were both wrong. It is Twins baseball in Twins baseball fashion. It's guys that are good that are hurt. It's late season collapses as everybody else gets ready to play their best baseball. It's bad pitching performances. It's atrocious managerial decisions. It's everything that you'd come to expect of the Minnesota Twins in September for the last couple of years.
So I guess, I mean, we won't dwell on that for too long because if you're a Twins fan, you know what that's like.
Yep.
What are 2 to 3 things that need to change for 2023 for us to not miss the playoffs again?
Yeah, I think there's 3. There's 3 massive dominoes that can and or should be tipped. Right. The first of which is going to be, what are you going to do with Carlos Correa? If you can find a way to bring him back, I do think he was good for the culture, not maybe for the veterans on the team, but based on some of the way that some of the younger players, Nick Gordon, Jose Miranda, guys like that played throughout the course of the season. You obviously saw them elevated a little bit, and I think that is because of the energy, the leadership, the experience that he brings into the locker room, right?
I don't think that can be
he also provides Gold Glove level, excellence over at shortstop, and was relatively healthy this year. I know he has a reoccurring back injury, but he was on the field more than he wasn't on the field this year. So there's some value in that. I think bringing him in would be good. And if you can't, that's going to leave a massive hole in the infield. And then you have to replace that money with a player of the same caliber. With the way that this team is going to perform. So Carlos Correa is going to be one. The second one is going to be Byron Buxton. I know it's a new deal. Mike was right. I'll give him his due on this. 92 games is not enough. Hitting 220 is not enough. Signing him to be a Gold Glove level center fielder and then needing him to DH for fear of him getting hurt in the outfield, him being one of the fastest players in the MLB, and him not stealing bases because of fear of injuring himself is evidently not worth the money that was given to him. That has been proven now. I think this year was his best, was going to be the best showing that he was going to have throughout his entire career. So it's time to start fielding some offers. Go look to a team that can still use him well for 92 games and make a deep playoff run with him and get everything that you can out of it. That would be, the Byron Buxton thing for me. And then last but not least is going to be the Rocco Baldelli situation. Rocco's got to go. I mean, you can see it on the screen here, folks. Warning, will pull starters early for money. It's what he does. Like, you gotta let your pitchers grow and you gotta let them go. And the only way that they grow is if you let them go. So it's cyclical, right? If you keep pulling them early, they never learn. If you let them go, yeah, sometimes you might lose a ball game in July, but you're more likely going to win that ball game than in September. And that's the evident issue. So I think Rocco needs to go and the Twins just need to figure out, how they're going to do it. I said it last week. They're obviously, after the Vikings showing last week, which we're going to get to, it's a little bit harder to say this, but they have the opportunity to be the Minnesota Vikings from 2021 to 2022, where if they just fix the coaching issue, bring in some free agents, they could be looking at winning the AL Central next year because it's not that difficult of a division.
I agree with you on pretty much everything. I personally would let Correa go, and I would put that money towards an ace pitcher.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that.
Joe Ryan is your 2. I think, depending on the timeline of the ACL injury with Royce Lewis coming back, you have a pretty decent shortstop for years to come in that role. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I think, obviously, and the Twins, if they can get them healthy, do have a solid rotation outside of the ace looking into next year. Ryan at 2, Mole at 3. Are they was Sonny Gray's deal a 1-year or 2-year deal?
I thought it was a 2-year, but you also have guys like Ober that have been like looking decent.
Balazovic did figure it out towards the back half of the year in the minors, so he'll be ready to maybe, make the jump next year. So they've got guys, right? They've got guys. So it's all about just figuring out what you're going to do with the ace and then address the fucking bullpen. For the love of God, get me some bullpen help. I will come out of retirement and I could outpitch some of the guys that came out of the Twins bullpen this year. Gabe could come out of retirement and outpitch
Goddamn right,
some of the guys in the Twins bullpen this year.
Why is that said as a comedic thing? I was going to suggest myself anyway.
I'm just saying, like, it was. I haven't picked up a baseball in 7 years.
Well, it didn't look like Emilio Pagan had either.
Yeah, you know how much movement I'm getting on my fastball?
A lot.
Anyway, yeah, a lot.
I love the eyes, by the way.
All right, relevant in some way.
So, Mike, and Mike, for you, what do you see as some? Is there anything else that you think that outside of the laundry list that I just gave you?
To be completely honest, I think you win some, you lose some, and we lost a lot with injuries this year.
You win some, you lose some. We lost a lot.
we lost a lot with injuries this year, right?
Yeah.
So, you look at that rotation that you just named off. 2 of the 5 guys were out with injuries. You also have a guy like Kenta Maeda, who's going to be coming back, or was supposed to be coming back for this great playoff push that we were supposed to be making. He'll be healthy.
Haddock will be back, hopefully.
Haddock will be back. So,
Royce Lewis,
resetting
for a minute.
Right. Resetting the injury list
Yeah.
will be massive for this team.
Getting half of a roster back.
Yeah, and figuring out how you can stay healthier. Because it seems like the Twins are always the team that's just throwing in AA guys because they don't have anybody else.
Yeah, no, and that makes sense. And Gabe, maybe as I talk about this, if you could pull up a list maybe of pending MLB free agents for this year, the Twins are going to have a lot of money to spend. They're dumping the $19 million that Miguel Sano had. They're possibly dumping the 20-some odd million or 35-some odd million that they paid to Correa. They have the ability to move off Byron Buxton if they can find a suitor. So the Twins are going to have at minimum $40 million that's just dropping off the payroll that they could add to this roster for next year because there's a lot of youth here as well. So, there's just perfect. Oh, go back up right there. Wilson Contreras at 31 years old would be a great addition behind the plate for the team. Mike Zunino, who do we got at first base? Jose Abreu would be a good one. I think our first base is honestly taken care of. Juan Segura at second base would not be a horrible addition. Trey Turner, Xander Bogaerts, Dansby Swanson, Tim Anderson. There's another one.
Is this the era of the shortstop?
I think so.
It's crazy.
Tim Anderson may be leaving Chicago though because, oh my gosh, I just had his name. There was a veteran who came in for him when he was hurt, and he can field a lot better.
Yeah.
And Chicago fans do not want Tim Anderson back in the lineup.
Yeah.
Because Elvis Andrus.
Oh.
Elvis Andrus is playing better than Tim Anderson right now.
In the field. Okay, so move Tim Anderson to second base. You know what I mean?
He can't field.
Joey Gallo, Andrew Benintendi also available. Who else is down there? Gabe, scroll through some of these outfielders real quick.
Aaron Judge, he's decent.
I mean, good luck. That's going to be a $450 million contract that he's looking for.
I don't know why you guys even think we're going to spend 45.
So, because the correct contract I think will be gone.
Yeah.
So I just looked this up. The Twins had the third most players injured.
Okay.
And lost the third most days to injury. 2,125 days.
Man.
So they were literally statistically one of the most injured teams in the league this year.
Yeah,
that was our
great.
Main issue.
Not great.
And then you know who the least injured team was?
Who?
In all of baseball?
Who?
The Cleveland Guardians.
Oh, of course.
So that explains what happened in our division this year.
Can we switch over to pitchers here? Because that's the last thing I want to see is who's going to be available as a pitcher potentially for the Twins to go get. Perfect. Here we go. Carlos Rondon has
DeGrom. Oh, he can opt out. Okay.
Yep. Carlos Rondon signed with the Giants this last year. He will have the ability. The Twins were in on him last year.
Sunday club option.
Yep.
Who's Clayton Kershaw?
Yeah, I was gonna say Clayton
Verlander.
Kershaw.
He's got it in the tank.
Yep. Sean Manaea, that's a guy that we were looking at before this year started. He signed in San Diego. They are going to be obviously hurting for cash after they get the Juan Soto deal done. They're going to need Tatis back, things like that.
Wade Miley, we saw him pitch for the Iowa Cubs against the Saints.
We did.
Summer.
So there's
Greinke. Jeez, what a bunch of Snydergaard, bunch of expired talent, kind of.
Yeah, no joke.
Major,
So what's funny about Snydergaard or Syndergaard, who most people say, he's only 30, Gabe.
Hold on. What'd you just say?
Snydergaard.
Snydergaard.
It's Syndergaard. It's Noah Syndergaard.
That's what I said.
You said Snydergaard.
No way.
I'm willing to bet you.
Okay, well, that was truly a mistake.
We can run it back. No, but so this being said, there are options for the Twins to improve this team.
But
and make
honestly,
a push in a bad AL Central.
How much roster improvement you really need?
Right.
Third most injured team in the entire league, and the team that's winning your division was the least injured team in the entire league.
Yeah,
you got to stay healthy.
Yeah, I think that goes to the front office.
Yeah. What's the first need? Do you guys think? Like, if you can just sign one player,
Ace.
Okay, who's that player?
Sign Verlander. Why not?
I
your
love
ace.
That. I'm telling you, dude, he's got 5 more years.
You don't need him as an ace in April and May, or even June.
True.
Let him throw 4 to 6 innings through those months.
Oh my God, Rocco, shut your mouth.
Seriously though, and then like August, September hits, let him go as long as he wants.
I mean, I would like to see them make a big swing. Like, sign a top line guy. Go get, if DeGrom opts out, go get DeGrom. Go get Aaron Nolan. Go get Adam Waite. Go get like a legitimate front line 200 inning guy. And even if you got to go trade for one, do it.
Get us a guy who could possibly win 20 games.
Let's put this into perspective. The last time the Twins had an ace was this guy right here. That was the last time that we had a relevant ace in our organization.
Oh, so Jose Barrios wasn't an ace?
Nope. He wanted to be. He wanted to be paid like one. Listen, hey, there are sometimes you're wrong, sometimes you're right.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up the Minnesota Twins segment. Let us know what you thought about the 2022 season or the lack thereof, and what they need to change going into 2023 to not miss the playoffs again.
Yeah, absolutely.
With that, let's stay on the track of poor news and cover the Vikings getting throttled on Monday Night Football by the Philadelphia Eagles.
And now, admittedly, Mike is a little bit more of an X and O's guy than I am. I'm more of a Jimmy's and Joe's kind of guy when it comes to football. So why don't you go ahead and explain what you saw from a schematic standpoint that cost the Vikings this game?
Even though the offense was inept at times, I think you have to focus on the defense and the defensive scheme that we were running. To play a high shell defense against an RPO offense is backwards to me.
Yes.
To give them 8 to 10 to 12-yard cushions on the outside, to not mix up what you're doing, to not bump late or change your defensive look prior to the snap, doesn't confuse a quarterback who, in my opinion, is not that great.
Right.
Jalen Hurts was able to look like Tom Brady because it was clear what we were trying to do. A lot of his throwing windows were wide open. I think his average yards of separation for a receiver was like 4.7.
Yeah. Not great.
Yeah, I thought the game plan was horrible from Ed Donatel, and it didn't change either.
I think the guys the played better in the second half. I went back and watched just the second half of the game.
You could make the same argument though for the Green Bay Packers in Week 1.
Right.
Was it us playing better, or was it
they
them saying, "Well, it's 24-7.
Yeah,
let's just get out of here."
Yep. Would agree there. A little bit of context on this game, I think, is important. Okay. In any walk of life, you are never your best moment and you are never your worst moment. We just saw the best of Jalen Hurts. So let's not automatically start the Jalen Hurts for MVP train. How often is a guy who we have all watched miss wide open wide receivers going to throw for 330 and look like the second coming of Michael Vick in Philadelphia? Probably not as frequently as everybody in Philadelphia would hope, right? The other part of this is you are also looking at a team in year 2 of a system versus a team in game 2 of a system. Big difference there experience-wise, a big difference in how deep that play sheet gets. Obviously, just by understanding the offense and the defense and having time to gel together and knowing what some of these situations were like. The Eagles were a playoff team last year as well. Let's keep that in mind. They know how to win in big moments, and Lincoln Financial is a massive home field advantage for that team. It's loud there. Like, I don't think it's nearly as bad for the Vikings as some people would think, but I think the area that we got beat in was in the analytics department. They came out and punched us in the mouth, and because we wanted to run a very clean, schematic, almost finesse style game, we got beat up and then couldn't get back into the fight.
Yeah, off that, it was disheartening to see how little Dalvin Cook was involved again.
Yes.
He's a top 5 running back in the league. You got to just continue to feed that man the ball.
Yeah.
He does remind me of AP in a small way of 2, 1, 4, -1, 78.
Yep.
So you got to just kind of keep feeding him the ball. Otherwise, that 78 doesn't come. The other thing that I'm pulling away from this is that Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
KOC is not going to change him as much as we thought.
Might be able to mask some things, but it's not
But
gonna.
to see him get as rattled as he was, especially late in the game when we needed plays,
definitely wasn't a quiet mind.
That man was a sophomore thrown into varsity football that was shitting his pants, throwing the football up to his quote-unquote best receiver.
Yep.
And nothing more.
Yeah, and now the other thing that I will say, and credit to the Philadelphia Eagles for this, is they are probably the most self-aware team in the NFL right now. They know exactly who they are, and they know exactly how they want to play football, and because of that, they can come into a game and go, this is what we're doing, we're here to dictate, and we're not changing. When they want to run the football, they're going to run the football. If they have to pass, they can, but it's all set up by the RPO. Their defense is good luck running the ball because we have size in the middle, and then I'm going to let my big play corners pick on you and jump routes on 3rd and long, 2nd and long situations. They know exactly who they are. So credit to them and Sirianni, who I think has developed into the bigger surprise than Jalen Hurts. Everybody kind of knows what Jalen Hurts is. I don't think if there was a bet available to say that this is what Sirianni was going to be in year 2, nobody would have guessed this. Right? So credit to him for that. And then the last thing I guess I'll have to say on
They also started with the most cupcake schedule I think I've ever seen.
Evident by them backing into the playoffs pretty much last year.
Well, I mean this year. Lions week 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then us.
And then at home against anybody is...
Especially a night game.
Yeah.
Primetime television, getting Kirk Cousins, who is now like 2-73 in primetime games or something like that. His fucking record is horrible.
So that's the thing is, they got us, Gabe, but they got us at our worst, which is Monday night on the road.
Yeah.
But why is that?
Kirk Cousins.
Sorry, yeah.
Kirk Cousins.
I'm
Cousins
so glad to hear you guys hating on.
Is terrible in big spots.
So I did not get to watch the show because I did not get to watch the Vikings this week, which pissed me off.
Shame on you.
I was focusing on your show.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, that's what I do on Sundays. But anyway,
It was a Monday, but good cover.
Yep, Mondays. Well, no, and Sunday. It's both nights. So anyway, were they singing the praise? Did our offensive coordinator look like such a genius again?
So me and Mike,
or O'Connell. I guess.
So me and Mike talked about this, and what you pulled out of it was, and correct me if I'm wrong here, and I felt like we never got a rhythm in the way that KOC runs that offense. Is play 4 might look like play 18, but it's going to be different because of the way all of the window dressing, and because we didn't have the ability to get into any sort of rhythm early. Only 21 plays in the first half. We weren't able to create a lot of deception because we weren't able to show enough. Does that?
Yeah, I think we had 4 3-and-outs in the first half. I mean, you're 1st and 10. All of a sudden, it's 2nd and 11, and then it's 3rd and 12. You can't show much.
Yeah,
you're going to a part of the playbook that's not very full.
Yeah,
multiple times.
I mean, and you're still dealing with guys, like I said, in game 2 of a new system, right? Not all of the kinks are ironed out. I literally made a comment to the guys that I was watching the game with the other day, looking at the size of KOC's call sheet. It's just smaller than it was than what McVay's was in LA, or what I see some of these other offensive guys have in other system or in other places. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that this is like, it's all going to build, right? The more tape, the more film, the more times we play, the more things he's going to be able to install. And there just wasn't enough there wasn't enough in the bag for this week.
I mean, I don't know if there wasn't enough in the bag. KOC is, here's what I'll say. KOC is a chess master, and he was thrown a checkers board.
Yeah.
So
makes
was
sense.
it on him? I don't know. Can't tell.
Well, I mean, I think you can put some of the blame at his feet, and he did the right thing, by the way, in the post-game press conference by kind of landing on the sword and going, listen, I need to be better. I need, and I was really glad to hear that because it does fall on him. When you go 2 weeks and Adam Thielen has a total of 2 catches, when you go 2 weeks and KJ Osborne has a total of 2 catches, Dalvin had a total of 17 total rushing yards. And then also on the defensive side of the ball, Zadarius Smith and Danielle Hunter were nowhere to be found.
Correct.
You got to put sometimes
because we were rushing forward most of the game too.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to put the onus on your star players, and if you're going to do that, you got to put them in situations to succeed, and that hasn't happened. It didn't really happen enough in week 1, but we got away with it.
We saw one loop from Danielle from the C gap to the A gap, and that was it.
Yeah.
We're supposed to have this exotic defense that lines these guys up in different spots and blitzes off the edge and stuff, and we have seen none of that.
Well, I think that was because their offense dictated. They came out and showed something they haven't showed before. They were very heavily 3 wide, and I think everybody was like, oh, it's going to be an RPO game. We won't need to stunt and do all of these different things to slow that down.
Blitz.
Right.
Like, what are we doing? Play press man, disrupt the timing of the RPO, and get in Jalen's face.
Yeah, by the way, our defensive backs, I felt like I was watching Mike Zimmer's defense with where they were lined up.
Yep,
Holy
shades of the NFC Championship game for sure.
Good Lord, 8 or 9 yards off the line, just playing catch coverage, letting a physical receiver like A.J. Brown get a full head of steam, and then break your guys off, or letting Devontae Smith get up to full speed and then throttle down and burn your corners. You can't do that. You have to stop them at the line.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even necessarily have to press them, but having a 9-yard cushion is just really not smart.
No.
We'll go with that.
Yeah. So, tough loss. You will adjust. I don't think, like I said, the Eagles are as good as everybody says they are. I don't think the Vikings are nearly as bad as everybody thinks that they are right now. I think both teams are playoff teams that will be fine. There's a lot of season left, 15 games.
Yeah.
So
with that, let's go into our week 3 matchup with Detroit.
Good chance to look at that whole analytics department again this week, because Dan Campbell is going to look at that film and he's going to come out and go, okay, well, we're just going to punch him in the mouth like the Eagles did. And you better hope the Vikings adjust, because the Lions are no slouches.
Yeah, I think they're averaging like 34 points a game right now.
It's a lot. That defense is going to need to be ready. And I don't know, it's nothing special, right? They're just playing they're playing good football. Like, they're playing hard. And when you play hard, teams that wilt under pressure will eventually fold if you just keep going at them. So the Vikings are going to have to buckle their chin straps. And if I'm KOC, I'm trying to get Dalvin to run us into the end zone on the first drive of the game. Wear that defense down. Start with a body blow. On defense, come out and try your damnedest to get after Jared Goff. Get a sack on the first drive, some exotic blitz. Because you got to set the tone. We didn't dictate in Philly. We need to dictate coming home to Philadelphia, or coming home to play the Lions.
I agree completely.
What do you got for a prediction?
31-28.
I got 24-20 Vikings.
Ooh, holding the Lions down.
Holding the Lions down. And then what do you think some of the key matchups are this week?
I'm very curious to see how we try to stop Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yep.
Other than that, can we slow down Aiden Hutchinson?
Darisaw Hutchinson is going to be an interesting matchup.
I'm really not too worried about anybody else.
Yeah. Same. I think our offensive line versus that defensive front, their defensive front is nothing special, but me and you talk about this all the time. When you get a good offensive line or an above average offensive line against a middling defensive front, you should be able to road grade them. I blame the Twins for the Viking struggles. I think we all do. I think that's part of what the problem is. You should be able to road grade them. And then on defense, I know that they have a decent offensive line, but our defensive pass rush is better. Zadarius Smith has had success against the Lions in the past. Danielle Hunter has had success against the Lions in the past. Dalvin Tomlinson had success against the Lions last year.
Plus, it's Jared Goff, man.
Yeah, right? Like, let's not turn him back into Sean McVay's Jared Goff, please? Can we? And don't leave. If it comes down to last second touchdown opportunity, maybe just take Cam Dantzler off the field.
Who actually I thought looked really good week 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I will give him his credit. I think one of my biggest takeaways from that game was his ability to come up and tackle, playing the flat from where he was at. His ability to close, his pass coverage has obviously improved. But Ed Donatel obviously thought he was playing too well, and that's why he came off the field in the fourth quarter. So
that was an interesting call.
That was a very interesting call.
Well, let us know what you guys think about the Vikings' struggle in week 2, and looking forward to week 3 with Detroit and coming back home.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
With that, we're going to go into what we call headline news or storylines from week 2.
Yeah.
Let's kick it off with Trey Lance. Kick it off. With Trey Lance breaking his ankle and the Niners looking like geniuses for keeping Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah. Not often in life do you get real second chance opportunities. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Opportunities often pass you by, and you're kind of stuck with the result of what your initial decision was.
Sure.
The Niners are getting a legitimate second chance.
I thought you were going to say Jimmy G is getting a legitimate second
He is
chance.
too. Well, he's technically getting the third because he got benched in New England when, you know what I mean? If Jimmy G comes in and plays consistent and the Niners win even a single playoff game, they can 100% get a do-over. They can go, we have Trey Lance, who hasn't played, has a fifth-year option, probably going to be a little bit cheaper, and they could shop him. They've restructured Jimmy's deal, so they're looking good cap-wise, and they could get majority of what they traded to move up and get Trey Lance to start this system over. Go get another young quarterback that you bench behind Jimmy until he's ready, and then run this whole thing back with the draft capital you need to reset this team and continue to make deep runs at the playoffs.
All right, hot take for you.
Yeah.
Trey Lance, who broke his ankle this weekend, is the luckiest man in the NFL.
Explain.
What is his rookie deal? Let's just take a rough guesstimate on how much he's making in San Francisco. 5?
No.
He was a first-round pick.
He's inside the top 10. He's got to be making closer to 10 or 12.
A year?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say 10.
Okay.
Okay, so this man is making $10 million a year.
Yep.
Has played in 3 football games.
In 3 years.
Since 2019.
4. 2 last year, 1 this year, 1 in college.
Okay, so 4 games.
Yeah.
So 4 games in 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022.
Correct.
1 game a year for $10 million. That seems pretty lucky to me.
Yeah. Man's getting paid.
For what?
Stay honest, holding the clipboard.
For nothing.
Holding the clipboard.
Has he proven anything to you that he's an NFL quarterback?
And that's what's crazy to me is no, he hasn't. And even in that Bears game, everybody's going to be like,
everybody blamed the rain.
The conditions were shit. Justin Fields got it done.
Yep.
And then he's an Ohio State quarterback that nobody trusts.
Yep.
Trey Lance should have easily stepped over him in that game. He did not.
They were the better team going into that game.
And Shanahan came out all camp and said, yeah, he's good, but God, is he inconsistent. And it's driving him crazy. So it's a tough break for the kid as he moves forward.
Is it though? Like he's already in a boot and comfortable and living in his mansion.
I get it, but the competitor in him is going to think, hey, I'm a starting quarterback. I want to be on the field, so on and so forth. I just don't. I cannot see him suiting up for the Niners as their starting quarterback ever again. Something about it doesn't seem right to me. Because there's going to be quarterback movement next year.
Well, speaking of one starting quarterback who went down, let's talk about another starting quarterback who had an injury this past weekend in Justin Herbert. Did you watch this game at all?
Yeah.
So his third down throwaway, where it was clear that he was like barely able to breathe, and then the next play he comes back and throws an absolute strike on a post, 40 yards downfield on a level 2, like boom.
Yeah.
Super impressive. One of the most impressive things I think I've ever seen.
Dude's just an absolute fucking gamer.
He is. So what does this injury do for him? Does he miss games with this?
Yeah. Have you ever broken a rib or like had bruised ribs or cartilage or anything like that? Okay. it's hard to get out of bed.
Right. It's hard to breathe.
It's hard to breathe. It's hard to laugh. It's hard to think because everything
and
you
side
do.
note, really quick, the doctor that's helping him through this is also the same doctor that's being sued from Tyrod Taylor on his rib injury and how he handled it.
Oh, it's because he jammed a golf tee through his lung. You know what I mean? And that's how Justin Herbert got the job. So sometimes you lose it how you get it. That's called karma. But I don't know, man. They are so, and obviously every system is quarterback centric unless you're the 49ers and you can just kind of pick up whoever and run the ball 90 times. They so depend on his arm talent and his off script ability and different things like that and it's going to be so limited based on how that injury is going to affect him. I'm all of a sudden very worried about the Chargers' ability to score points. Because now, I don't know who they play this week, but I'm going to line 8 guys up in the box and dare Justin Herbert to throw the ball. Because, and you know this as a quarterback, as simple as your shoulders not being in the right spot or not being able to get your arm up high enough or wincing on release will change how accurate you are. And all of a sudden now you turn into a turnover machine because you're not as pinpoint accurate. And this guy has a habit of trying to lace balls into small windows.
They play Jacksonville.
And Jacksonville's rolling.
I don't know if I would say rolling. They did have a good game.
But I don't know. And if he continues to play, does it ever really heal? Or is it just an elongated process of suffering through the entire season?
Yeah, so just to be clear, he has a break in the cartilage around his ribs.
Worse than the bone itself.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah.
It's all the shit between your ribs that like holds everything in place.
Cartilage between your ribs.
Yeah, that holds everything in place.
You might have shit between your ribs, but I got cartilage. All right, and with that, let's transition to Daniel Jones and the 2-0 Giants.
Look at Brian Daboll giving the city of New York some hope.
They're going to need a whole lot more than 2 wins.
Well, I mean, look, with Dak down, right? I mean, the Eagles are rolling right now, but with Dak down and, I mean, the Commanders look like they might be able to stay afloat. And it's not necessarily like systematically beautiful, but they're finding ways to win football games.
Yeah, so they found a way week 1 with the Titans missing a field goal to beat them. And then week 2, they played like the Titans, who are possibly one of the worst teams in the NFL this year with how they've been looking.
About that.
And then losing to Baker Mayfield's Panthers. So they really haven't played anybody either. Week 3, their matchup is going to be the Cowboys. So Monday night, but it's also Cooper Rush's Cowboys.
I was going to say. So by this time next week, I could throw the same graphic up and the New York Giants could be the leaders in the NFC East.
Yeah, Philly's got Washington, who could beat them. Interesting.
Scary.
It's interesting.
So do you think this is sustainable? And do you think how much of this is Daboll and the culture and the offensive system and some of the things that he's put in place coming from a place like Buffalo?
I don't think it's sustainable.
Okay.
One, to be very clear, it is not sustainable. And sure, Daboll's averaging 20 points a game. It's not going to win you a whole lot of football games in the NFL.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
20 points is enough to be in a lot of football games, though.
I mean, do you want me to look up like average points per game from teams last year?
No, but I'm just saying,
is not very much.
But 20 is enough to be in the game. It's enough to be in a football game in the fourth quarter. Yes or no?
Sure.
See? So, I mean, they're going to get their cracks. And if Saquon stays healthy and can milk some games away, and Daniel Jones is anything but Daniel Jones, they'll be all right. I'm very impressed by this and encouraged by this.
So 20 points a game would have ranked 23rd last year.
Yeah, that's not great. Worse than I thought, I guess.
But they were at 15.2 last year. So there you go, Dable.
5-point increase for the offensive guru.
Hey, kudos. Let's switch gears a little bit. So the Giants are 2-0.
Yeah.
And then contenders like the Bengals, Colts, and Raiders are having a sluggish start.
Yeah. What the fuck, I guess? All of these teams before the season, we were all like, these teams are units. They should be able to go.
So the Bengals Super Bowl hangover, we're thinking, right?
Well,
Joe Burrow is on pace to be sacked 111 times.
I think with the Bengals, the thing that concerns me the most is I feel like they got into a headspace of walking into games, we should be favored, and we're not going to have to fight very hard to win them.
Instead of the underdog mentality.
Instead of that underdog mentality where you have to go take it every week, I think there's been a little bit of a change, and you're not sneaking up on teams anymore, right? You are the target, the proverbial target that is aimed at week in and week out as a team that was just in the Super Bowl. So you're getting everybody's best. So it's a little bit different, and a sluggish start in that division is not a good sign.
Colts, Matt Ryan is a fraud.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the Raiders.
What is going on with the Raiders?
Well, you're giving up 26 points a game right now.
Yeah. With Max Crosby and Chandler Jones and a decent linebacking core and decent safeties, like, is it a schematic thing?
I haven't watched enough to, say whether or not it's schematic, but I can say if you're up 20-0 late in the third quarter, you need to win that football game.
Absolutely.
Week 1, they played the Chargers. It was a tough divisional game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll excuse that one.
But you can't lose to Kyler at home, down or up by 20 points.
Well, and then they're going for 2, and all you have to do is stop the 2-point, and you let Baby Yoda run around like he stole his mom's phone for like a half hour.
Okay. Ugh. Okay. E. Come on, man. What are you doing?
All right, well, I guess I don't get to talk to him anymore.
Oh, Mike just disowned you. E, how do you feel about that? Let us know.
Yeah, so it's a sluggish start for contenders around the NFL. It's an odd season thus far.
We're in week 2, and there's a lot of season left, obviously, so some of these teams can buoy the ship. But which one of these teams do you think, because of this slow start, is most likely to miss the playoffs?
Colts.
Me too.
Matt Ryan is a fraud.
Yeah. Is that going to cost Frank Wright his job? Couldn't get it right with Carson. Couldn't get it right with Phil Rivers. Couldn't get it right with Matt Ryan, and hasn't drafted or been able to bring in requisite wide receiver talent to support an offense that has an MVP candidate in Jonathan Taylor, has a Defensive Player of the Year candidate in Shaq Leonard, went out and got DeForest Buckner, signed Stephon Gilmore. Like, this team should be playoff bound without a second thought.
I think the Colts would be playoff bound if they didn't treat it like Hurts rental car at quarterback.
Yeah, they need to go get a guy instead of just like picking up veterans rental that are way past their prime.
Brett Favre, I heard, is their candidate for 2023.
Oh, you can pay him in welfare, I hear.
Yep. All right, with that, Dallas rushing the Bengals.
Yeah, so this is just kind of a continuation of what we talked about. I think the Bengals walked into this game kind of like the Minnesota Vikings walked into this game last year on primetime television in Halloween and went, oh, it's Cooper Rush. Easy dub. Not the case. My biggest question on this, and I don't want to be this guy because everybody's going to be like, what a fucking outrageous take. Why is it that Dallas's offense looks better without Dak Prescott?
I mean, it's a more balanced offense. It seems like it's more scheme sound, and they do what they're supposed to.
Exactly. Like,
Zeke is still trash, though.
Absolutely. Tony Pollard is the best running back in that room. He has been for the last year and a half. He should be their starter in their bell cow and make Ezekiel Elliott their goal line guy, maybe. But it's just weird to me. I watch the game and I go, this looks like a sound offense.
Yeah.
You get Dak in there, and it almost.
Weren't you saying the same thing about the Niners once Trey Lance went down too?
I mean,
they were up 6-0 when Lance went down. Ended up scoring 27 points.
Yeah.
Burrow was sacked 6 times against the Cowboys.
Yeah, Micah Parsons looking Lawrence Taylor-esque in year 2, by the way. That guy is an absolute unit. I mean, Dallas has the pieces to get it done, even without Dak. And, man, with the way that McCarthy's probably going to be attempting to save his job, if Cooper Rush goes out and beats New York this week and, in essence, kind of buoys the ship while Dak is out, are you rushing Dak back? Are you really want him back week 4, week 5? Or do you go, we're going to wait the full 6 weeks. You just hang out.
I saw a tweet from a Dallas Cowboys fan the other day that history repeats itself.
Well, you get it how you lost it, right?
And 21 years ago, a team lost a Pro Bowl quarterback, and the backup came in, looked pretty good, and led that team to a Super Bowl.
Okay.
Just wanted to share that.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I'm not saying that happens with Cooper Rush, but like,
also,
I don't know if he keeps winning. How do you pull him?
Also, how did Tony Romo get his job from Drew Bledsoe?
And we're really just picking on Bledsoe, huh?
Yeah.
You know, I was talking about Tom Brady and
So how did
couldn't stay healthy?
How did Tony get it?
Injury.
How did Dak get the job from Tony?
Injury.
Okay. This happens way more often in the NFL than people realize. How did Colin Kaepernick get his job from Alex Smith? Injury. Sometimes Nick Foles, Carson Wentz, injury. Sometimes when you get a quarterback that just clicks better with your offense, it's a wrap.
Warren Moon over Brad Johnson.
There you go.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that this is that situation, but if, heaven forbid, Cooper Rush goes on a run here and wins every game until Dak is ready to come back, what do you do? With a head coach that's trying to hang on to his job.
You have Jerry Jones.
Right.
So
which I get.
He's going to want to play Dak and Zeke
or is he going to want to trade Dak? Because he'll be ready to come back before the trade deadline. You know what I mean? Like, that would be an obvious overreaction in my opinion, but like, I don't know how Mike McCarthy can sit back and be like, I'm better with this guy at the helm than Dak Prescott record-wise and want to play Dak Prescott.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's definitely something to watch as the season goes on, right?
Yeah.
So with that, let's wrap up our headlines or storylines.
Yeah, let's talk about
Canelo versus Triple G3 recap. Do we even want to talk about this?
I mean, I think Gabe wants to go ahead. Do you want to try to defend the holy hero in Triple G one more time, Gabe?
I don't think there's anything I need to defend, so to speak. I think that I should applaud the steroid usage of Canelo Alvarez, of course.
Are you kidding me? You want to talk about steroid usage?
I'm just throwing shit out there. No. I mean, look, he looked so old. I can't believe how old he looked. I can't believe how he looked like he didn't want to fight. He looked like it looked like he's sparring. You know what I mean? He wasn't throwing with bad intentions, and I don't believe for a minute that he was afraid necessarily. I'd love to hear some strategy, like if they thought that Canelo was going to come out and go for the knockout right away, and that was kind of his game plan. But you know, he did. Here's the thing: it's not even exciting when he did put those few rounds together that were really good. You know,
he won the ninth. I'll give him that. He won the ninth, but it wasn't close in any other round.
No, man.
The official scorecards came out unanimous decision. All of the judges gave him the ninth. He didn't win a single other round.
No, he won another round. He just wasn't unanimous.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all. But no, he did. He won 3 rounds on many cards. It's just
out of 12. It's not great. Not going to win you a fight.
It's not good. I'm not. Listen. The reason he went to DAZN right after their second fight was so that he could fight Canelo right away.
Yeah.
If there's one criticism I have, I don't like Canelo, obviously. I totally acknowledge that he is, now I have to begrudgingly say, he is like the third best fighter fighting today now.
Woo!
Yeah, well, no, fourth. So he's behind Bud Crawford. He's behind, not Spence. I think he's ahead of Spence. And then he's behind Fury, and I think he's behind Usyk. So I think he's fourth.
We might see that fight.
Yeah, but I mean, I got to even hand it to him. Yeah, the Usyk thing is absolutely stupid. How about go back and beat Bivol?
Yeah.
That would be interesting. I think he's in that level now where he doesn't have much to prove, and he gets to do what he wants. I applaud that he fights other people. This really hurts me to do all this.
Oh, I love it.
I think that his what's the criticism? I don't even have one. Actually, here's something for Triple G. What a chin, huh?
Yeah, he got hit with some absolute shots.
Yeah, he did,
and managed to stay up.
He did. I don't even know what fight is out there for Canelo that I'm excited about,
other than the Bivol rematch.
I'd like to know how far apart their weights are for like Bud Crawford, but I don't think it's even possible.
I mean, and for me, the biggest difference here was the RPMs that these two guys have been running at since they saw each other last, which was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
In the last 4 years, for comparison's sake, Canelo has fought 8 times. 6 of them were either champions or former champions. Triple G has only fought 4 times.
He has absolutely fought who's in front of him.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're very much kind of at the mercy of what's in your division and all that stuff at the time, and now, of course, with your things. I do want to say I think it's bullshit that he waited Triple G out, because that's clearly what he did. Very clearly what he did.
I mean, I don't know, but I don't. I would agree with you.
That fight.
I would agree with you if he wasn't chasing down other titles, right? Like Canelo Alvarez very obviously wants to be known as the great. He wants to go out as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Mexican champion and boxer of all time. The only way that he's going to be able to accomplish that is by collecting titles and doing it in multiple weight classes. He's got titles in 4 different weight classes. Since he's come up, and obviously he's going to go for light heavyweight again at some point. It's one of those things to where, and you can tell by the pay-per-view buy. I saw something this morning that this fight only did like 550,000 pay-per-view buys.
It's funny you mentioned that. So I was just going to put that up, and again, this is my thing of they had such heat, and in boxing, man, that trilogy was absolutely called for, and I believe he was hiding behind the fact that because everyone knows he lost the first fight.
Won the second one and dominated the third one.
Did not dominate the second. You're saying he won the second one.
Yeah.
That was very close. Truly could have gone either way, but
For sure.
I also lean toward Canelo. Just lean. But
everybody leans to Canelo.
Should have been a trilogy right away, and he cheated the great Gennady Golovkin, whose whole career, by the way, the entire division was running from him. He really was robbed of what could have been a monster career. It sucks. I feel so bad for my friend Triple G.
Well, maybe you can send him a get well soon card, because I don't know what's next for him either. He's obviously not going to be anywhere near any sort of title picture with the way that he fought that fight.
I was sad to hear him say he's going to keep fighting.
Yeah. He should have hung it up. Go out with some grace.
Yeah. Actually, I'm sorry. I forgot about this. This is my big take.
Yeah.
Triple G versus Jake Paul.
That I would want to see.
Hell yeah.
But I don't know how much of Jake Paul is going to be left after Anderson Silva removes his fucking head.
Yeah.
So
very likely.
So Gabe, I do have to ask, and I want some clarity here. You said current fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Canelo Alvarez is currently 58-2-2 in his career.
Yes.
And has held titles in 4 separate weight classes.
Yes.
Has been a unanimous champion for over a year in 2 of them. Is still fighting at an incredibly rapid pace and is still looking to take on more titles. Currently, with where he stands now, where do you put him all time? Mike, answer this as well, please.
I don't believe that this fight changed where he was. He fought a very old man that he waited out. I will say this, but it also didn't diminish him at all.
Okay.
But I would say, okay, fine. I'll let it move him up, and he's now in the top 20.
Mike?
Ugh.
I'd put him like top 10-ish.
Yeah. If I'm
top 10.
Probably like at
top
10.
10.
Probably like at 10.
If I'm gonna be brutally honest, he's probably at 8 now, but I know there are more things to come from Canelo. He's just gonna keep going.
I think you guys are just not thinking of all the great fighters that have fought. And all the greats, I'm not saying he's not. He could be top 10. He could be 10, maybe.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he's
of the
probably
4
like
kings
10
in the
to
80s.
like 12-ish.
Is he better than Sugar Ray Leonard? Not in your life. Is he better than? There's just so many of those guys like from that era, that 80, like the 4 kings, of course, jump out to me right away.
Right.
You got to have Ali. You got to have, I think Mike Tyson in his era.
Roy Jones.
Yeah, like there's just two. I mean, James Toney won titles in 5 or 6 divisions.
Right. Pacquiao.
Pacquiao, my God. Yes.
Those guys are in there for sure. But then I do have to step back a little bit outside of just his record and look at his skill. Like
right now, his skill is getting crazy.
Is his skill, his fight IQ, his ability.
That's what it is.
The Bivol fight being the outlier for head movement, Canelo has some of the best head movement I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is nuts.
He is a phantom to hit.
It's great. It's very good.
It's not like, and he's knocking guys out. And every weight class he's been in, technically, like, think about it this way. He sets traps from round one. He'll go to the body, and then he'll feint to the body and he'll hit you with a right cross, and you're on the canvas because he's hit you in that same spot over and over and over and over and over again. When he fought Callum Smith, and he just kept punching him right in the elbow, so he dropped that hand, and then he could get his. You know what I mean? It's things like that. Like,
we got to have on this
incredible
analyst guy that I'm talking about, because I'm fascinated to hear about that, because I don't know how common that was, the whole punching in the arm.
Right.
Thing. I mean, I know it was done. I know it was a thing. But he seems to have kind of mastered that, attacking the biceps, attacking the. Did you see him hitting Triple G's liver?
Yeah.
And body shots.
Yeah. He throws like that wrapping hook.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's man. He's so impressive, and it's not like he's a big guy. He's 5'8".
Yeah. No, he's a little tank, but it's I'm so curious because with Bivol, what he did is it's like he forgot he was fighting at a higher level, or with a tougher guy.
He looked so much faster last night than he looked in the Bivol fight, and I think the only drawback to him being able to accelerate his greatness in upper level weight classes at this point in his career is going to be he can no longer sustain fighting at like a light heavyweight and retain his speed. The weight is going to start to affect him.
Yes. Well, yeah, it does. And I think that, so what I was going to say with the Bivol,
it's the rub.
I don't feel like it was a lot that he was so much faster. I feel like he had gotten in the habit all of a sudden where he wasn't boxing and he was walking people down and just hitting KO shots.
Well, when you're breaking guys' faces.
Yeah, he counters that well. I mean, he could, absolutely. And it's like he thought that's what Bivol, and he did not adjust, which was such an outlier because he's been so good at adjusting.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And Tim Jackson here, Tim Jackson says Mayweather hit him quite often, and I would agree with you.
But Mayweather's speed is on another level.
There's a thing in boxing.
Not at 40, though. It was not.
It wasn't.
I mean, that's what's crazy is that that's what actually, to me, the thing that holds me back from putting Canelo in the top 10 or even, I mean, I'm telling you, if I really look at it, he might not be top 20 even, because that Mayweather fight is such a question mark for me.
So and
he beat him bad.
Well, here's the thing, though. In boxing, I think you have to look at it with the perspective of there is such a thing as the rub, right? Mm-hmm. Mayweather is tactically an all-time great when it comes to 100%. Fighting. And I think Canelo walked in there with Mayweather, and he did exactly what you're supposed to do when you lose to a legend. He learned that Mayweather was speaking a different language in the ring.
He's a top 5 all-time fight IQ guy.
Yeah, for sure.
He's there, and that's true.
So
100%.
and I see it because I went back, and I've had this thought for a long time. I watched the fight before Mayweather. I watched the Mayweather fight, and then I watched Canelo's next fight.
Oh, yeah, he learned.
Oh, it was instant. He's like, I need to learn not to get hit. I need to make people realize that with my power, there are consequences for missing me. And it launched the entire back half of his career. So, yeah, you're right. Mayweather hit him a lot. But I've said this multiple times. I think, much like, Triple G, Gabe argues that Canelo waited out Triple G.
Mm-hmm. He did.
If Mayweather ever would have attempted to double back with Canelo, we have a different fight.
Mayweather was also only 36 when they fought.
What?
Bingo.
I swear to God, he was 40.
It was 2013.
He claims he was 40.
Maybe that's what he was. He lied in the press conference when he said he was 40.
You realize he can't read, so who knows?
Yeah, no, I know. That's very true. One of the greatest digs all time is when 50 Cent said 500,000 read one page of Harry Potter, and he never responded.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, let's switch gears to what.
Can we pause? I do want to get my I told you show into Gabe. We talked about this 6 months ago, and Gabe's like, oh, Triple G this, Triple G that. I was right. So I did warn Gabe.
But at that time, had you said, hey, he's going to fight him in 5 years when he's 40.
Gabe, we've only had this show for a year and a half.
I'm saying, like, had I don't know. it just seemed like I don't know, man. He looks old. That's all I can say.
Well, when you have to stop bringing the pharmacy bag back from across the border.
Oh yeah, that's Triple G.
Yeah, it is.
No, shut up. What?
It definitely is.
Oh.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, let's transition into our What's More Likely segment.
What is more likely, Michael?
So I have 3 what is more likely statements for you as we look forward in the NFL season after 2 weeks.
Absolutely. And I believe, Gabe, we even have background music. We're going to do this as like a legitimate segment here. Check that out. All right, Mike.
All right. So what's more likely? The Giants make the playoffs or the Bengals miss the playoffs?
Ooh. Obviously, part of me has to kind of say the Giants make the playoffs because the Bengals are in a division to where if they stay on this obnoxiously slow start, and we talked about the meat grinder they have at the end, there's a good chance that not only they miss the playoffs, they miss it by a mile. The Ravens are good. The Steelers aren't nearly as bad as we thought that they were going to be.
They will be.
And the Browns, as long as they can tread water until Deshaun Watson gets back, are going to be a team that is at least playing good football down the stretch. The Bengals need to start winning some games now.
So Giants make playoffs?
Giants make the playoffs is more likely.
All right. So we have 3 total. So the second one for you, really quick. What's more likely? Tua Tagovailoa throws for 4,000 yards, or Dalvin Cook rushes for less than 1,000.
Ooh. Tua for 4,000. I would have to say, I don't know how much substance you're going to get out of Tua for 4,000. Also, KOC has not proven to me yet that he knows how to use Dalvin in this offense, and it's been a little bit of a committee. We've seen more of Alexander Madison than I thought we were going to see early. And Tua has Madden characters as wide receivers, and if Tua has proven anything throughout his entire quarterbacking career, it's that just like when he was at Alabama, if you give him really fast receivers that are kind of open, he can hit them. So Tua for 4,000 yards.
All right. And our third and final, the San Francisco 49ers are still successful after losing their starting quarterback and running back and make the playoffs, or the Colts lose double-digit games.
Colts lose double-digit games. And it's not a knock on the Niners' success. It's just a knock on how I look at the Colts right now. They have a top 5 offensive line. They have a top 7 or 8 defensive line. They have one of the best linebackers in the league. They have Stephon Gilmore. They have Pittman is still a valid option at wide receiver. Mo Alley Cox has been efficient. They have an MVP candidate at running back. They have a head coach that was on a Super Bowl winning team in Philly. Where is the disconnect?
Matt Ryan is a fraud.
Yeah, I think he is the definition of over the hill.
Oh. All right. Well, that was our quick and to the point segment. What is more likely?
I like that. Little music in the background. Give us some tempo. We'll have to do that again.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. You have news?
Next segment.
All right. Gabe's like, that was dumb. Don't do that again.
Weekend football preview as we look forward to week 3 in the NFL. We have 4 games that we want to break down. Mm-hmm. And then that's the end of the show, man.
For sure. What do we got first?
Buffalo at Miami. This was looking like it was going to be a blowout at the beginning of the season. Mm-hmm. And then Miami comes back from down 21. Tua throws 6 touchdowns and 400 yards, and they beat the Ravens. This is looking like a little bit more of a game here.
No, it's not. Let's not kid ourselves. Tua looks great against the Ravens, who, let's also admit that the Dolphins managed to let themselves get down by 17 points at the latter part of the third quarter, right?
That's why you play 4 of them.
And they did that against a team that had no wide receivers.
Rashad Bateman. Come on, man.
Stop it.
Come on, man.
Stop it.
Come on, man.
Stop it.
Come on, man.
It's not the same. It is not even close to the same. The Buffalo Bills are a different animal. They covered up a good actually a fairly decent wide receiver the other week with rookies. Their safeties are way better than what the Ravens have to offer right now. Their defensive line is better than what the Ravens have to offer right now. I think this is going to show, this game is going to be the litmus test or the barometer for Miami, and you're going to see, yeah, they might be hanging around the playoff picture, but when it comes to a true contender, that's not really all that close. Because the Bills will find a way to take away and cover up or muddy the coverage against Tua, and his lack of athleticism against that pass rush is going to be a problem. And then that defense, keep in mind, against a team that had no wide receivers, got torched, and they're going to have to go up against Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and that offense that just moves people.
So you're saying if you have Gabe Davis in fantasy this week,
Play him.
sweet. Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
All right, so we
What
got.
do you got as a score prediction?
Well, I actually do think it's going to be close.
Okay.
I'll go 31-27 Buffalo.
I got 30-20 Buffalo.
That's not that bad.
Yeah.
And then our second game, for some reason, Nick wants to talk about the toilet bowl of week 3. The Las Vegas Raiders at the Tennessee Titans.
It only looks like the toilet bowl because both of them have got off to obnoxiously slow starts, but
Tennessee lost 41-7 in week 2.
Storyline-wise, this game might be more important than people realize.
Why?
If the Raiders lose this game, they're looking at a very, very, very long, hard uphill battle in that division to be even hanging around the playoff picture. Denver, Kansas City.
Denver hasn't shown anything. The Chargers quarterback might be hurt.
True. But an 0-3 start is a tough ask in that division to start with. And, you know, how loud does it then get there around some of the moves they made in the offseason? Who knows? So I think they need to, and for them, the game is on the road. So it's not like they're getting a break here to start 0-2. The most interesting part of this, I believe, is I said, let's start Malik Willis watch during the preseason. If the Titans go 0-3 to start the year and they lose this game at home to an 0-2 team,
yeah, I think they're
and it
gonna
looks
lose big too.
And if the offense doesn't hang up big passing numbers or look efficient, start week 4. I would start Malik Willis.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 24-7 Las Vegas, and I think you're going to hear Malik chants in quarter 3.
He played last week. That's all. I mean, I get it. Like when you're down when you're down 41-7 or whatever, right? Like how much longer can you ride with your starter? But that is how a lot of these things start, man. When your team looks like that, and he wasn't awful. You know what I mean? What was he, 2 for 4 on passing? He
can't be worse than Tannehill is right now.
My point
and
exactly.
That's the thing is, like, I actually had faith in Ryan Tannehill. When Ryan Tannehill is playing well, he can win games for you. He really can.
But was it Tannehill or was it Henry and A.J. Brown that elevated him to look like a half-decent quarterback?
I truly thought he looked half-decent in Miami, surrounded by nobody.
Ugh.
He's a heck of an athlete. He was a Division I receiver until his senior year. He's a heck of an athlete. He can throw the ball pretty well. Yeah. I think it breaks down to scheme and how he's reading the defense.
Sure.
And when your running game isn't working, even with Derrick Henry, and he's not the guy who's going to throw for 350 and just beat teams by himself. He's never been that guy.
Yeah.
Malik has that capability.
There's also schematically something that's very interesting that has been proven a couple of different times when you integrate a running quarterback into an offense, regardless of the weapons that you have. If you have a half-decent running back and a half-decent offensive line, you can win some games on the RPO, like the simplistic RPO offense. You really only have 11 plays, or this is an exaggeration.
So Nick had an epiphany this week
about
the RPO offense.
I absolutely did.
Why don't you share it?
I don't remember it.
Okay. So typically, offense versus defense.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I remember
You're looking at 10 versus 11 because the quarterback isn't really accounted for. Mm-hmm. Well, if you substitute that for a scrambling quarterback, all of a sudden now you're basically 11 on 11.
Yep.
And then if you run an RPO or a read-based offense where you're reading one or two guys, you can almost flip 10 versus 11 to like 11 on 9.
Yeah. It's interesting. And I think with Derrick Henry there and Malik Willis's mobility, I know Vrabel isn't going to want to run an offense that way, but that is very obviously, with the lack of perimeter weapons that they have right now, the best option they have to win football games in Tennessee.
Basically become the AFC's Philadelphia Eagles.
That's exactly. Or Baltimore, when Lamar came in for Joe Flacco. It just seems to work. It's more simplistic. Everybody knows what their role is. You know what you're getting into week in and week out. You're going to have to play physical, smash mouth football.
Which fits them.
And milk some games away.
Right.
I think it's time to pull the trigger. If they lose this game, Malik Willis starts in week 4.
All right. So then let's transition to the Sunday night.
Did we give a score prediction for that?
24-7.
I have 21-17 Las Vegas.
Jesus, close. Tennessee hasn't put up 17 points all year, have they? San Francisco at Denver Sunday night.
Awfully early in the year for a must win, but once again, looking at the wrong notes here. Spotlight is going to be shining pretty bright on one of Nathaniel Hackett's biggest weaknesses, which is how do you deal with a physical complex defense in primetime. He has been a mess so far managing games. I have never seen Russell Wilson look so bad in my life in 3rd down and 2-minute situations. I said it last week. Denver has one problem and one problem alone right now, and it's a head coaching problem.
I mean, when was the last time you saw Russell Wilson finish with less than 50% completion percentage?
Maybe never.
Maybe never. And I don't know if that's necessarily the head coach.
Yeah.
To be honest, that's Russell Wilson not bringing Broncos Nation with him on his ride.
Yeah. Nathaniel Hackett. Get the fuck out. Like, it's a real problem. And because it's going to be in prime time, it's going to be for the whole world to see. And based on what Denver would like to think that it's going to be, if he doesn't figure it out quick.
I think San Francisco is going to walk in and punch him in the mouth.
Exactly.
I really do.
Yeah, for sure.
Jimmy G's going to be 14 of 18, 175 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
And I'm going to say Niners win 27-17.
Yeah, I've got it 23-20 San Francisco. And to me, it's going to be Denver's going to get another chance to win it at home. They'll have the ball on offense, and something's going to go wrong. That just seems to be the way that this is going to go. They're going to be in a lot of ball games, and Nathaniel Hackett, much like Mike
Hackett
Zimmer,
will call a timeout, but he doesn't have any left.
Or, he'll call, a play that makes zero, like, they'll have no timeouts.
The Dallas Cowboys quarterback draw.
Right. Or they'll throw the ball into the middle of the field and not have enough time to spike it, or something ridiculous, because that has been the only thing that we have seen out of Nathaniel Hackett so far.
Sure.
Is chaos. So, yeah, I mean,
it's not even organized chaos over there.
No, it's just straight chaos. Straight chaos.
And then let's transition to the last game that we're going to break down for week 3. Monday Night Football, an NFC East matchup between Dallas and New York.
Yeah. All right. And Gabe's letting us know right now, Michael Gallup could make his 2022 debut versus the Giants, but would be on a snap count. They do need some weapons on
CeeDee Lamb got ripped by the owner.
Yeah. Really glad that I invested in him as my fantasy handcuff to Dak Prescott. The Giants could get off to a 3-0 start here.
Possible.
If Dable can find a way for them to manage Micah Parsons, and I would assume that it's going to look a lot like when people try to block Aaron Donald at this point, because he's really the only thing that makes that defense go in Dallas. If you can slow him down, you can spotlight some of the other weaknesses that Dallas does have. And then if they can control the clock with Saquon Barkley on offense, and the defense does anything to disrupt Cooper Rush, you're going to have yourselves a ball game, and Dallas could walk, and it's a home game, or for New York, it's a home game. So New York could walk out of this 3-0 looking at a division lead.
Yeah, I just don't think they have enough weapons. So unless Dable continues his ritual sacrifice of chickens prior to the game, Dallas is going to win this one. I'm going to say 24-13 Dallas, actually.
If he's sacrificing chickens, I would send him to a Tyson chicken farm and let him sacrifice as many as he needs to for this game.
It's like Pedro Serrano in Major League. Man.
I got New York winning 17-14 off to a 3-0 start for the season.
Shocking.
Over Dallas.
Well, you guys are going to have to let us know what you think about our weekend football preview of week 3. Make sure to let us know what you thought about our What's More Likely segment as well. Let us know what you thought about the storylines around the NFL after week 2 and where the Minnesota Vikings stack up around the NFL.
We don't need to hear anything about the Minnesota Twins. They are dead. Bury them 6 feet under.
Purposely did not say.
We will see them next spring in the hopes that anything has changed. We will be with you guys once again next Thursday for another wonderful trip around the sporting world. It is almost fall time, so I hope everybody out there is enjoying their pumpkin spice whatever.
It is technically fall. Yesterday was the first day of fall.
I woke up this morning and there was like that cold fog just covering my car windows and stuff, and I was like, yep, and I have to start breaking out the jackets. I'm wearing jeans today. No more flip-flops.
65 is a high today here in Minnesota. So.
Yeah, it's not great. But it is football season, so there's lots to be excited about. Next week, we will be breaking down everything that happened in Week 3 of the NFL as the Minnesota Vikings hopefully trounce the Motor City Kitties.
You could say pounce.
More dad jokes from Mike. We will also be covering some of the upcoming UFC events, as I know that they have a big card coming up as well. And then I believe we are less than 2 weeks away from Minnesota Wild puck drop for the regular season and the Minnesota Timberwolves heading to camp. So we'll have hopefully a little bit more hope in the Minnesota sports department in the weeks to come.
Minnesota Timberwolves are the only NBA team with 3 players in the top 25.
There we go. Yeah, hey, congratulations to Anthony Edwards, number 23.
And congratulations on your $40,000 fine. Now clean it up. Clean it up.
Yeah. So as always, glad to have you guys with us. We'll be happy to have everybody with us next week. Until then, Mike, they have sports fan, or if they are sports fans, friends, Jesus, where can they find us?
I got you. If you are a sports fan with sports fan friends, find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, and Patreon. You can also find us on cable here in the Twin Cities on MCN6 Saturdays at 10 p.m. You can also access MCN6 through your Roku remote.
No excuses as to why you haven't watched this show. You can find us anywhere. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, as always, take care, stay safe, have fun. You gonna hold my hand? One girl, one cup. Oh, my mic is off. My mic is off.